Okay, hello everybody. Welcome in on a Thursday. So glad you are here. It is Longshore and McKnight presented by Bud Light. A lot going on today. Barry on the road yet again. Statesboro, Georgia, I believe is what I heard.
No, it's Waycross, Georgia,
Waycross.
actually, on our way to
Close.
Statesboro, Georgia. Yep, yesterday in Tallahassee, Troy baseball beats Florida A&M. Tomorrow, it's Troy in a 3-game series against Georgia Southern, and we're halfway there. We took off from Tallahassee last night. We're in Waycross, which
Waycross.
I usually know where I am. Usually it's in a venue with a college or a university in it, but I don't know that I've been all over the place. I don't know that I've ever been in Waycross, Georgia before, but here we are today.
I'm just curious how far Statesboro is from Waycross.
Couldn't be that far. I mean, we drove a long way last night.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you this from experience. Statesboro is not really close to anything.
Yeah.
It's a long way off, but it's a big day. It's a really big day today. Not only the real start of Major League Baseball. I'm not sure that the San Francisco Giants knew that baseball started yesterday because they got shut out by the Yankees 7-0. But today,
I got to admit, Barry, I just got to come clean right out of the gate.
You forgot about it. You forgot there was a game, John.
Well, I was watching Auburn, and then I was watching something else. More on that later. But no, I missed the baseball.
Dang. All right. Well, there was not much yesterday. Today, big day. Games everywhere. Except the Braves don't play today. I think the Braves start.
That. I did see that
tomorrow.
They start tomorrow.
Yes.
Interleague. They're starting the season off with an interleague game. Playing
John loves that.
Royals.
John loves that. So yeah, they against the Royals in
you find
Atlanta.
That a little strange. I mean, you're starting the season and you're not even playing a team in your own league.
No, they do it a lot more. Ever since somebody called for it, they've really embraced the idea. So interleague is not only sprinkled in here and there, it's a pretty big thing now in Major League Baseball. I mean, it's not as much, obviously, as a league game or anything like that, but there's interleague. And tonight as well is the NCAA tournament again. We're back at it with NCAA play in the Sweet 16. Looking forward to that. We've got 4 games today. We've got 4 games tomorrow. Some pretty good action today. Only one involving the SEC, Texas and Purdue. That's at 6:30 on CBS. Arkansas versus Arizona as well. So we'll talk about all of that. Plenty going on.
Yeah, very excited about the Sweet 16 starting. Of course, a big win for Auburn last night as they head to the Final Four of the NIT. We'll talk about that today as well. So, yeah, there's a lot on the docket today. And, of course, we told you we're going to be very busy today. Got a lot of guests lined up. And Senator Tommy Tuberville joining us today as well from his office in Washington, D.C. We always appreciate the senator's time. Coach, good morning, sir. How you doing today?
Well, I'm doing good to be expected, I guess. Glad to hear from you guys.
It's great to have you with us. What's the tone? What's the temperature? What's the atmosphere around the nation's capital these days, Senator?
Well, I can't use the word I want to use, but it's not really good. Can't get anything done. We're not working for the American people on either side up here. We're stalemated, and when you can't fund the government, especially our law enforcement, DHS and TSA and Coast Guard, FEMA, if you can't fund that, you got a huge problem. And we got problems up here because we got a lot of people that basically are socialist or either that or they believe in tradition of the Senate, in which I'm tired of hearing about. How about we get something done for the American people? But we just got too many people that just don't want to work.
Coach, obviously you've been very busy, a lot of things that you've put on the floor, a lot of things you're proposing, but you just touched on TSA. I know that's on a lot of people's minds. Airport lines are long, delays are long. Easter's coming up. A lot of people are going to be traveling. Any feel about when this will be resolved and we'll have a full staff of TSA employees at airports around the country?
Well, just to make it short, it takes 60 votes for us to get anything done in the Senate, and we only have 53 senators on the Republican side. We got one, John Fetterman. He's been voting with us. We've had 14 votes on the Senate floor to open up. Every Republican has voted for it every time, and 99% of the Democrats have voted against it. So we can't get anything done unless they vote with us, or we could bust the filibuster, which all we'd have to do is vote to say, okay, we're going to 51 votes, and we could do it as Republicans, but we got too many traditionalists up here that says, no, we don't want to do that. We want to make sure we have more authority than the House, which they're a simple majority. So you got a lot of people pulling in different directions, but there's no end in sight to this. It's just unfortunate for the American people because we and the taxpayers and the citizens of this country deserve better than this.
Senator Tuberville has also, one of the things that we've talked about a little bit, has put forth a bill called the Student Athlete Act of 2026, which one of the big issues in college athletics is movement among athletes between schools. Give us first of all the structure of this and what it hopes to be able to accomplish, Senator.
Yeah, there's not a week goes by that I don't work with my colleagues in some form or fashion to try to put an end to this nonsense. But the problem is it's still a lot of partisan politics up here. Can't get anything done. I've talked to President Trump, heck, even before he got elected the second time, about how to work with this, and we've talked him into having some round tables, and he did that. He had a good round table a couple of weeks ago, but that was a photo op, and you had as many foxes in the hen house, and you did have people wanting to get it done, because all you heard about was things to help them raise more money, and we're past that point, folks. The money's out of the bag. So I proposed this week, and I've already talked with the president about it, about let's just do a short bill that puts athletics and academics back at the forefront and do 5 years. Once you start your clock, you've got 5 years to play five, no exceptions, no waivers. That's it. No 27, 28, 29-year-olds playing. Nobody coming back from the NBA playing in college basketball. Nobody coming back from any other professional sport to come back and play. Let's put high school athletes back in the equation. So 5 to play 5, and then you get one transfer. Used to, we didn't have that. If you transferred, what you did is you had to sit out a year. And I believe in that. I believed in that. And it really kept kids from transferring. But I think there's an opportunity here to where we can say, okay, you get one transfer in your 5 years, and you can transfer at the end of your playing season. And then after that, if you want to transfer, you have to sit out a year. So two basic fundamentals. 80% of the problem is the transfer portal. It's not going to solve all the problems. It's not going to solve the problems of these athletic departments spending hundreds of $millions a year on people working in the athletic department or all these new facilities. Let's put academics back in this. Nobody's getting a degree. Yeah. Nobody's going to class. I mean, it's a friggin' joke. And it's embarrassing that a country of this ability that can't come up and figure this out.
Coach, I think that's a very important point you bring up, because we've seen athletes that are, going to their 5th, 6th, 7th school, and you kind of think, well, are you going to class? Are you working on a degree? I mean, if you're moving around that much, a lot of your credits probably aren't transferring. So the academic side, you're right. That's the furthest thing from their mind.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that we're sitting around watching this go on, and not being sensible. It's about the rest of politics of this country. What's it about? It's about money. It's not about family. It's not about individuals where they can grow and get educated. It's about a shortcut of short-term financial gain. but long-term disaster coming into this country. So again, what makes me sick is, if I went back and coaching today, I wouldn't sign a high school player. I'd go out and sign all transfers, because if you sign a good high school player, he's going to come 1 year, then he's going to transfer. So I'm just saying that to the fact that that's the system. I like the high school system where you bring them in, you teach them, they learn, they educate, and they play, and they get everything from a team concept and from a atmosphere that's very conducive to growing as a young person.
Yeah, I thought it was perceptive. I know that there's research out there. I think you've cited it where someone like the percentage, I think, Senator, is something like 60% of all football playing colleges and universities don't even look at high school players at all. And that cuts down on their opportunities as well. And that's unfair.
Oh, yeah, it's unfair. It's, kids work all their lives to very, very hard to get that college scholarship. It used to mean something. Hey, I'm getting a scholarship at Alabama or Auburn or Georgia. It meant something. You don't hear anything about that anymore. And again, sometimes it's old school, but it gets back to one thing. They grow and learn. It takes 2 or 3 years to play in college football or basketball, unless you're just a LeBron James or somebody that matured early athletically. Most of these kids coming out of high school, it takes them a while. So what's going to happen? They're not getting that opportunity. But the problem is, you got your upper echelon, these athletic directors and these commissioners. They're looking out for themselves and the conferences. We got to come together as a group of conferences and say enough of this. We got to structure this to where, especially in football, that we can make this work. Because what's going to happen? We're going to run the ship on the beach, and it's not going to work anymore.
Coach, in terms of the NIL, I kind of get the sense that the toothpaste is already out of the tube and you can't put it back in. But what do we do about college kids making 6- and 7-figure deals? I don't believe that's how the NIL was first tabled. I think it was, go to a car dealership, sign some autographs, make $2,000 or $3,000, and come on back home.
Yeah, John, as you said, the cat's out of the bag. And President and I talked about this just the other day. I flew up to Delaware with him, and we talked about it. And he knows more about it than what you think. I said, Mr. President, we talk about the money. He said, Coach, that's gone. That's out of the bag. What happened is this judge ruled in California about the NIL. And you have so long to contest that, to appeal that. And we didn't do it. NCAA didn't do it. There was no appeal to the judge. So it went through, and there's no way around it now. It's just gone. And so we can talk about the money and all that. And again, I've always, for kids making money, know that a lot of them are making more than you ever would imagine. They'll never have that chance to make that kind of money in the NFL. So they're trying to get it up front. But at the end of the day, that's going to take care of itself if you do the transfer portal. People aren't going to pay people, to transfer and set out of here. They're not going to do it. So I think we can address a lot of those problems. Still, the money is going to still be there.
Right.
You're still going to get lawsuits. There's going to be lawsuits come out. Oh yeah, I want to be able to transfer 10 times and all this kind of stuff. Sooner or later, we got to find a judge that's going to stand up to all this nonsense and put the genie back in the bottle, and let's go and let's get back to academics and athletics and building character and young men and women across this country. And again, that goes to one thing. We're going to lose Title IX now. We're going to lose women's sports and Olympic sports if we don't do something.
You've established that before. You have a background way early in your coaching and educational days of coaching women's sports and things like that. So, I know you feel that deeply about losing opportunities for females in athletics as well, Coach.
Yeah, and it's just a shame up here. The problem I can't get done right now with the Democrats is they want to unionize athletes, and I think I can convince enough of these people to vote for this bill to get it passed.
Right.
It's going to be. I'm going to have to carry a lot of water with this thing. I've talked to Ted Cruz, and it's got to go through, Commerce Committee. But we got to do something. We're just sitting around. It's like not funding the VHS. I mean, We got to do something, folks. We can't stand in line 5 or 6 hours at the airport. You can't do it. I mean, it's just not feasible. It's not healthy. It's not safe. And again, let's look at air traffic controllers. My God, what a mess that is. Anything the government gets involved in is a complete and total disaster. Healthcare, air traffic controllers, TSA, it is a disaster. And my job and what I've tried to do since I've been here is get us out as much as we can. I've got a bill, Mike Lee and I privatize the TSA.
Right.
We do not need to be in that business. San Francisco and Kansas City airports privatized there. They didn't get into TSA. Their airports hire their own security. They have no problems. There's no lines out there right now. But this god awful union controlled TSA is a disaster. And it's going to get even worse unless we get behind it and do something to correct it. Other than just fund it, let's correct the problem while we're at it.
No doubt, Coach, and God forbid something bad happens because of the lack of TSA personnel, the lack of security. Somebody gets through the cracks and something bad happens in our air traffic system. I know that's a worry of a lot of Americans. I'm concerned about it as well. I want it fully staffed. I want security at its maximum. And it's like, Coach, well, let's don't do it after something happens. Let's do something before something can happen.
Yeah, you got these Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries, Richard Blumenthal, senator, Chris Murphy, senator. They're on TV going, people that DHS, ICE is going to kill people in the airports. I mean, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. I mean, you really can't. I mean, these people should be put away for life and not let out of a cage. I mean, they are the problem in this country, preaching that nonsense of, oh yeah, well, and they're going to shoot you because you might be an illegal. I mean, it makes no sense. But people, what's happened to us is in academics, these kids, especially these kids, have been brainwashed to listen to these absolute, irate people that all they want is power. They don't care about making things better. They just want power over you in this country, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing some of the things that come out of their mouths, Coach. It really is. I mean, it's just like stirring the pot. It's like, 80% of Americans don't want men competing in women's sports. You brought this up multiple times. You brought it up again. And you got some of your Democratic colleagues that are fighting you. And to me, that's what lost a lot of those races 2 years ago, is because a lot of people woke up and said, listen, our biggest worry isn't about men. We don't want men playing in women's sports, but that's what the Democrats seem to harp on, or, LGBTQ rights and all this other stuff that such a small majority of people are interested in. They're more worried about security, safety, a good paying job, making money, a retirement plan. To me, Coach, those are the most important things in most every American's lives.
Yeah, I on the floor last Saturday. We've worked, I guess, about 14, 15 straight days and we'll continue this. But last Saturday, I put for the 5th time on the floor, no men and women's sports. I didn't get one person on the Democratic side to vote for it again. And so here's the problem. 77 million people voted for Donald Trump. They weren't Republicans and just Democrats. There were also unions, workers. There were also minorities that are sick and tired of this nonsense going on. And I tell my Republican colleagues that, hey guys, y'all got a big race coming up here. You better get out there and appeal to everybody. But what's happened is the Democrats know they've lost a lot of their base. So they've got to keep that LGBTQ group going, and they've got to get illegal aliens to vote. And that's the reason we need the Save America Act.
And the voter ID thing, Coach. I mean, over 80% of Americans believe in having ID to vote. You got to have an ID to get on an airplane, to, buy tickets to go to a football game, concert, whatever. I find that just incredible.
Yeah. It makes no sense. And again, it's about a different type of world that the Democrat wants us to live in. They want us to live in a socialist society controlled by them, where they never lose power. They can just continue to rip off and cheat this country, open up the borders. I mean, it just makes you sick at your stomach to see, and just listen to them talk on the floor about things that you would never, ever dream that anybody would say that on the United States Senate floor. But times have changed, guys. That's the reason that it was so important for Donald Trump to get elected, and so important for us to continue to try to put common sense back up here. But it's going to be really, really hard.
Coach, your staff is letting us know you got to let you go. You got a busy morning, but before we do let you go, who's going to win it all in the NCAA tournament? Who's going to raise the trophy after the Final Four's played?
Well, I've watched some of it. Hadn't had a lot of time, but I tell you, I've watched Arizona all year. They're really good.
Yeah.
They're really good. So we'll see how they play.
I
Sounds
agree.
Good.
Thank you so much for your time, Senator Tommy Tuberville. We appreciate all that you do.
All right. Thank you. See you guys.
All right, Coach. We appreciate that. Wow. Great interview with Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville from his office in the nation's capital. It was interesting, Barry. We were having the interview. One of his staff members texted me and said, "You got about 2 more minutes with him. Take your time, but he likes to ramble a little bit."
Yeah.
That's what
that ain't no problem
about
here. Not on this program. United States Senator Tommy Tuberville, former Auburn head coach. He's always been good with his time with us, even back before his days in Congress.
You know, as I was thinking, Barry, and I knew what the answer was, and I guess if we had a little bit more time, I would have asked him, but Tuberville wouldn't want to coach today. I mean, it's kind of
no.
I think all this business would drive him crazy, as it's done so many other football and basketball coaches. And I mean, I think Bill Self at Kansas, he has some health issues, but Barry, I also think he's going, this isn't what I signed up for.
Yeah.
I don't want to coach in this environment.
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not why they've gotten into coaching. That's why a lot of really good coaches, Tony Bennett at Virginia, several others. I mean, I don't think I'm making an impact in young people's lives like I got into this profession for. Speaking of that, when we come back, let's see, we've talked with the United States Senator.
Yeah.
We've talked about the start of the Major League Baseball season. We've talked briefly about the NCAA tournament, Sweet 16 starting tonight. I feel like we need to talk about the NIT.
Yeah, I think
when
so,
we come
too.
back. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Known by avid golfers as one of the most beautiful and challenging stops on the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail, Cambrian Ridge in Greenville lies just 40 miles from Montgomery. It is well worth the ride for any golfer looking for 27 holes of jaw-dropping golf. The greens have been redesigned to accommodate the higher green speeds associated with their installation of the latest generation of ultra-dwarf Bermuda grass. Cambrian Ridge offers a fully stocked pro shop with all the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Cambrian Ridge for tee times and more information.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. This guy sitting next to me says, "You're our good luck charm." Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown. Now his entire family wants to buy me Bud Lights. I think I'm some kind of a football prophet. Talk soon. The team needs me.
Anything for Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs. Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us here on a Thursday. Senator Tommy Tuberville kicking things off with us this morning. Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover in about 6 minutes. Barry, here it is. Basically, I know last night we had the Giants and the Yankees, but really today, the start of Major League Baseball, a lot of games being played. And what is John from Wetumpka, our biggest baseball fan, talking about today?
When are you guys going to get President Trump on? I wouldn't be surprised. You guys are killing it with interviews.
Well,
that's a legitimate question. John from Wetumpka. The biggest love fest we have ever had on this program was when we had very innocuously, I was excited about it, was when we had Baseball Hall of Famer John Smoltz on.
Oh, yeah.
And I was prepared to carry the interview, and all of a sudden Smoltzy is going, John, I think you're right. Interleague play is the coming wave. And John sits back and he says, Smoltzy, let me tell you. And I was done. If we have the president on, number one, I might as well not even be here because I know it'll turn out like that. DJ, let me tell you, this is the deal. And you don't need to be messing around with these namby-pamby, wishy-washy. Just tell them where to get off and everything. And the president would say, John, I couldn't agree with you more. And I'd be over here on the side going, but I want to.
I might even give him a lip flutter, or I might give him, some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, John, don't be surprised, my man. I mean, I put in a couple of requests when I went on my White House tour a couple of weeks ago. I said, hey, what I got to do to line up the president for about a 5-10 minute interview with us? He goes, oh, okay, we'll see what we can do. So just, sit back, John. You never know what can happen. 5
to 10 minutes would be like giving a dropper full of water to a thirsty man, It'd be, if somebody is on a fast for 2 weeks and John hands him a cracker, 5 minutes with Trump for Longshore. That's just getting started. That's just cracking your knuckles and getting warmed up.
I would certainly take it if we got the opportunity.
Well, and so that's my point is that he sooner or later he'd be going, John, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, DJ, I'm telling you, here's you tell those guys overseas, this and I mean, it would be probably just as advantageous for President Trump as it would be for our show.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. I'm with you there. So we'll see what we can do about that, John. Yep. Thanks for that comment, even on a big day for you, John, because even though the Braves aren't playing until tomorrow, it's a big baseball day. And I know John's all excited about the national pastime going into full swing. Well, even though, Barry, I'm taking your word for it. It kind of sounds like it started out with a dud last night.
It was a dud, yeah. Yankees beat the San Francisco Giants. I told you the value of that besides being on Netflix, which I was traveling in Waycross, Georgia, for goodness sakes. I did not get a chance to see, but the value of that is San Francisco's manager, Tony Vitello. It's the first time he has ever managed, he has ever coached, he has ever been a part of a Major League Baseball game. Mm-hmm. And it looked it. They didn't look ready in that one. Yeah. The other valuable thing out of the world of sports today is the end of the basketball season at Neville Arena came last night. They're done.
Too many people didn't seem worried about it based on the orange seats I saw last night.
According to the official basketball box score final, 2,756 fans were in attendance at a 9,100 seat arena.
Okay.
It's the second straight game that Auburn has not had a sellout after like 3 straight years of sellouts. And Auburn got off to a scorching start and held on. I say held on. They beat Nevada, the Wolfpack. Unlike North Carolina State, Nevada, the Wolfpack. Wolfpack is 2 words.
Yep.
Auburn ends up beating Nevada in the NIT last night, 75-69. Now Auburn moves on in the NIT to play in the semifinals in Indianapolis against Illinois State.
Barry, I'm going to throw a trivia question at you. First of all, is Auburn the only Power 4 conference in the NIT? I mean,
yes.
Are you kidding me?
That is true.
Who was the last program to go to the Final Four in the NCAA tournament, then the next year go to the Final Four in the NIT?
Oh, I know this one. It's North Carolina.
Yes, it is. Look at that.
It's about 16 years ago, I think. I remember. Yeah. So there is that. Is there excitement on the plains, John? I can't tell you that there is. I do know this, since John's throwing trivia. Last night's win for Auburn, men's basketball, was their 20th of the season. And that just gets them to their fifth straight. Let me make my point before you start shooting it down. Again, let McKnight post the point, and then you start needling the Aubs. Wait until the Aubs are prepared to be needled before you feast on them. 5 straight 20-win seasons for Auburn.
Okay.
Which is a school record, and which is tied, I think, with Kentucky for the most consecutive. Alabama, they had 19 wins about 3 years ago or something. So, so there is that.
Awesome.
There is that. Well,
in Illinois State is the next team up, and this will be in Indianapolis.
Yes.
You mentioned it yesterday, Barry, where they filmed the movie Hoosiers.
Yeah, at Hinkle Fieldhouse, Hinkle Auditorium. That's not where the championship game is going to be played at Gainesboro, which is also still in Indianapolis.
Okay.
They don't play it at Madison Square Garden anymore, but there is that. We'll kind of talk about it a little bit. Jason Caldwell, AuburnUndercover.com, is coming up with Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Get Truck Month deals on more than trucks at Stivers Ford of Montgomery. Explorers for 13 grand off. Broncos 12 grand off. Expeditions 10 grand off. And Bronco Sports 9 grand off.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Fords.
Ford Truck Month is bigger and better at Stivers Ford of Montgomery. Take advantage of 0% APR on Super Duties, Lightnings, and F-150s. F-150s 18 grand off. Super Duties 2 grand under invoice. And Lightning 16 grand off.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Fords.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with one of their clinics and take advantage of physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solution services. Get back in the game, get back to work, and get back to life with Phoenix Physical Therapy. To find a location near you and to schedule an appointment, go to phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. That's phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at Riverbank and Trust. Locations throughout the river region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. Riverbank and Trust. Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us. About 28 minutes to the top of the hour. Our man Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover, joining us here as he does each and every Thursday. Jason, hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, guys, doing good.
Good to hear from you as always. Any thoughts about last night? A hot start against Nevada at Neville. For men's basketball, Philip Jovic, I think. I've not seen him play a bunch, but every time I see him play, that guy's my kind of player, Jason.
Yeah.
What's the value of all that yesterday?
Yeah, I think when he gets his touches in the paint, he's a guy that can score. It's just hard to get your touches. I mean, last night, I think the first half, they were averaging a 3 a minute for about the first 15, 16 minutes of the first half. Just hard to get touches. And when he did, he scored. And so, look, he had 18. I think it was 18. I thought he could have had 30 if they would have given him the ball more in the paint, because they were not going to stop him around the rim. And so, again, it's just another night of growth. We'll see what this roster looks like next year. But, the people that wondered, well, should you do this? Look, they've won 3 games, and it's been 3 games of postseason basketball for Stephen Pearl to coach in, and 3 games of postseason basketball for these guys to play in. There's some value in that. And so, I think it's been a positive for them.
Yeah, heading to Indianapolis in the Final Four, as we talked about. Things are going to ramp up just a little bit, so certainly exciting for this team and for Coach Pearl, as you mentioned, to get that postseason experience. Let's shift to spring football. Your thoughts, your observations, what you're picking up on. I did read earlier this week that there was a practice that Coach Golish wasn't overly impressed with.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where keep ramping up, and you're going to have those days. And so I think he took it as an opportunity to probably talk to his team in the media a little bit, going, look, we can't have those types of days, even though you're going to have them. Everybody, every football team, everywhere in every sport is going to have those days where it just doesn't feel like you don't have as much energy as you had or whatever. So I think it was a little, hey, okay, we were good. And he admitted, look, we're probably better the first 3 days than I thought we were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you go, okay, well, look, we weren't as good today as we were last week. And so just probably a little bit of a message, but it's been good so far. We get a viewing window here a little over an hour from now.
Okay.
A little bit more, and then they'll kind of ramp up towards a scrimmage where they'll get a chance to go out and do some things and have a scrimmage next Thursday night, the same time as Auburn, Arkansas baseball. They'll be having a scrimmage across the street over there, so there'll be a lot going on at that time. But start to kind of get a taste of it a little bit. And I tried to reiterate to folks, look, it's March. What is today? March 26th. It's a long way from playing your first football game for this team. So you take what coaches have to say with a huge grain of salt. It's a block of salt today because it's a long way before you have to start worrying about playing another opponent.
I know there's, I read Jason's work constantly. I know this is VIP content, so I'm not going to bring up too much about it at auburnundercover.com. We want you to join it. But I remember Joseph Simmons, an offensive lineman for Auburn. They've got really big plans for whenever he played at James Madison, and you talked with him, and he did bring up a little comparison between Golesh and Kurt Signetti, who was his coach at JMU, Jason.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, you got to ask about is, look, does it have a similar feel? And he admitted, look, it has a little bit of a similar feel. And I think you look at the roadmap, bringing some guys in that can help you establish kind of your culture and what you want to do is important. And we're having this discussion yesterday on radio here about, look, the difference in basketball in this roster this year in basketball versus what football is going to look like. And it feels the same, but it's not. It's not a complete rebuild in football, even though you have a new staff and a bunch of new players, because you're bringing guys in that already know the system, that know what he wants to do, that know the strength coaches, all those things. It's what Indiana did. Like I said, does that mean you're fixing to go win a national championship? No, probably not. Does it mean that you're further ahead than you would have been? I believe it does. I think you're able to probably be further along than you would have been in most cases. And you look at basketball. Look, you got the same coaching staff, obviously minus Bruce Pearl, but Stephen Pearl's there. But it's an entirely new roster. It was going to be and I've said it a bunch, it was going to be a really, really difficult situation no matter who the coach was in basketball this year, because you had entirely new pieces. In football, you got some pieces back and you have a lot of new pieces, but they know this coaching staff. Right. So I think it helps the transition period. And I think that's what Joe Simmons talking about. Look, there's some similarities in the way they do things as well, how they handle it. And I think the word we've heard, and there's several words to talk about it. One of them is intentional. Everything they do has a reason for doing it. Like
nothing is being done off the top of their head.
Here's why we're doing this. And it's whether it's, hey, this is the time you go to class. And I know people get that, they get that thought in their head that nowadays, nobody goes to class anymore. I literally have a golf cart waiting outside. And because they practice in the mornings,
right? I
watch Christian Burnett and Alvin Henderson and a couple of guys leave practice early to go get on a golf cart and go to class. Been a while since I've seen that.
Yeah.
Before COVID time.
How refreshing.
It's not just, not just the last staff, it's the previous staff. And to see that happening is pretty interesting to go, look, every bit of this we want you to do and do it as well as you can. And I thought, well, you know what, that's something that is a little bit different.
Well, we're not going to go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Jason, I'm just curious. Looking ahead, what type of A-Day are we looking at? Is it going to be more of a traditional scrimmage? Have they made any announcement about that, or will it be something like we've seen over the last couple of years?
Yeah, no, they want to actually play a football game, have like a game. And I think now you don't have to worry about showcasing your talent for other coaches. I think that opens the door for that. So I think as long as everybody stays healthy and as long as they feel like they can field a couple of teams, that they would like to go out and put one team on one side, one team on the other, and go play a football game. And just, I think it's, in the past few years, I 100% agreed with Hugh Freeze in that, look, there's no need to go out and show anything for guys to go into the portal and you lose them. Now, that's not a concern. Now, getting guys in a game atmosphere in your system, letting them go play, and letting guys go get used to Jordan-Hare Stadium that haven't played here, and there's a bunch of them. I think there's some value in doing that this time around.
Let's talk about value here for a minute without politicizing things. I think it's a fresh point to bring up because, Jason, we just had Senator Tommy Tuberville on live right before your visit, and he was talking about his bill.
I could have messed with him some. So.
We do a pretty good fair share of that ourselves.
But he was bringing up his bill before Congress that he has presented, where, among other smaller things, it would give student athletes 5 years of eligibility to play. No more 27-year-olds, 28-year-olds, no more any of that. 5 years to play 5, and if you transfer, that's fine. But if you transfer again, on the surface of it, does that make sense to you, Jason?
I've been screaming for that for years, to go 5 for 5, eliminate. Do you get a medical hardship? Do you get a medical red shirt? Is this guy a red shirt? Right now, you look up and go, I don't know what a redshirt sophomore is. Right now, that guy could have been in college for 6 years and still be a redshirt sophomore. 5 years, you can play all 5. If you get hurt, it counts. And I always go back to Rodney Barber, Auburn basketball player. He played about 8 minutes too much in a season and didn't get his year back because he went past an 8-minute mark. And so, therefore, he played too many minutes and didn't get his year. And now you got guys who had a cough for a couple of weeks and now get 6 years or 7 years. You got to have some form. 5 years enough. That's enough. I mean, that's plenty. And now you have guys that don't want to leave college because they're going to make more money now than they would. I mean, like there's a bunch of them. Like, you're going to make more money in college than you would going to play or try to play professionally. And so, look, college is there for a reason. And we have to continue to give younger players opportunities.
That was my corollary. That was my follow-up, because I wasn't perceptive enough to think about it when all this began happening. But Senator Tuberville was saying that in his estimation, Jason, 60 to 70% of the FBS programs out there aren't even looking at high school players anymore, and it certainly cuts down on their opportunities. Do you see that?
Yeah, they're still looking, but it's definitely limiting opportunities. When you start to look at it, and like Auburn's still doing recruiting and you're doing that. But I think, you look at I think, who was it? Texas State. Somebody did not sign a high school kid last year.
Right. I know they didn't. Yes.
And so you look and there's two roads that you kind of go down, going like, are you going to be almost total portal and do some of those things? I feel like you have to mix it up some, but when you do that, you're still going to limit what you're doing from a high school standpoint sometimes. And so I mentioned this a lot, but I always go back to what Auburn baseball assistant Carl Nonamaker asked me one day. He said, how do you get old on the mound? He's like, and it's the same thing in football. How do you get old at certain positions when on the other side of the ball from you is the guy that's 24 years old? How do you play a freshman and go, hey, man, we want you to get better when you go out and get destroyed by a grown man? Normally you would go, hey, look, we're going to develop you. We're going to do those things. But if you're that coach now and there's a 24-year-old guy on the other side and you're going, well, if we want to win, we better get a 24-year-old, because our 18-year-old's not ready to compete with that guy. So it forces your hand then to go, we got to get older too. The only way to do it is to get some sort of system where, look, it's uniform. Here's what you are. And I'm hoping that somewhere along the line we get back to that where you go to just give everybody 5 years. And I like part of it too. But to do all that, I have to have somebody help, I think.
Yeah, I can't imagine, Jason, the powers that be, when all this got laid out, that they could have ever envisioned guys transferring 4, 5, 6 times. Could never imagine NIL and 6, 7-figure deals.
If they didn't, obviously.
Yeah.
But because if they couldn't, it shows how short-sighted they were.
Yep. And as Coach Tuberville mentioned earlier today, I mean, academics is like an afterthought now.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned a great story. I think that was very enlightening hearing about these players that get on a golf cart to go to class. You just don't hear about that type of stuff much anymore.
No, and I always think back to hey, just trying to transfer junior college credits to a school, 30 years ago was it took an act of Congress.
Yeah.
You would lose hours, do those things. Now you got guys transferring from one college to the next, and they show up and in 6 weeks they got a degree.
Yeah.
That's not possible, but it's happening now. No, but getting back to the NCAA stuff, listen, it's obvious they had no idea what they were doing. They had no idea what was coming, because they could have helped a long time ago if they just said, look, okay, you're getting the cost of attendance money. You know what we better do? Let's give these student athletes $5,000. Here you go. Here's another stipend. Help you out. And if students would have had a little money, then people would have said, okay, that's pretty good. I mean, we're in a pretty good position now. And then when he said, nope, you're not getting anything, you opened up the door for them to get everything. And now, I mean, look, the difficult part of this now is going to rein it in, because if I'm a student athlete, I don't want to change.
Yep.
People's like, oh, well, you got to do this, this, and this. Why? Why would they want to change?
Why would I want to go back to the way it was?
Well, I mean, even getting money, because now they have everything and nothing to lose. Like people like, look, you can transfer whenever you want to. You can make money. You don't have bills to pay. Like you got it as good as it gets. There's never been anybody in athletics that has it better than a college, especially somebody that's making decent money. And I say decent money is, people now think about decent money like you think about it from a salary standpoint. Well, man, if you made $100,000 a year, you probably make decent money. You make $100,000 a year, which is in the grand scheme of things isn't a ton of money for major college sports right now. What would $100,000 be if you had $100,000 still at the end of the year because you didn't have to pay bills?
Yeah,
that's a whole lot more money than $100,000 now. I mean, that's a different category.
Jason, this weekend, a couple of top 25 baseball teams begin a series starting tomorrow in Tuscaloosa. Auburn versus Alabama. Tide coming in on a pretty good heater. Auburn had a big win here in Montgomery on Tuesday. Give us the high points of what to expect at Sewell Thomas Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it and it's just, no matter who you play in this league, it's always going to be tough. You play a rival team on the road, and it's amped up even better. So for Auburn, you go, top 5 Texas, top 5 Arkansas next week, and then in between those, you go on the road and face an Alabama team that just threw a no-hitter last week against Florida and won all 3 games. And so playing with a lot of confidence, it's going to be a challenge. There's no question. And so for Auburn, continue to kind of get some bats going a little bit would be big for them. Chris Rimbert is swinging it better. Eddie Madrigal is back and starting to play DH and was in lineup for the first time full-time on Tuesday night. So, I think that's the good part about this Auburn team. They have pitched it extremely well. But offensively, they're not close to what I thought they were going to be offensively. Do they get there? Well, I don't know. Sometimes teams don't ever get to that point. But I think there's still a lot left for this team, and we'll see if they can start to kind of get some of that offense going.
Yeah, going to be exciting. The Tide and the Tigers going at it early in the SEC season from Tuscaloosa this weekend. That'll be awesome to follow throughout the 3-day period. Jason, let our viewers and listeners know how they can get more information, follow you, get all the info from what's going on with Auburn athletics, with spring football, with obviously baseball, and of course Auburn heading to the NIT Final Four. Yeah, lots going on. Like I said, you can check us out at auburnundercover.com, part of the 24/7 network. And
got a spring special going on right now. If you've never signed up, go check that out.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, we'll have football practice here shortly. Have photo gallery of some photos from there this morning, some videos. We'll talk to a few players afterwards today, and then talk to Butch Thompson. They'll actually practice in Auburn today instead of driving up. So they'll practice at home, have their own weight room, all those things, ride a bus up, get the hotel, and then get started a series tomorrow. So we'll have all of that. And then obviously basketball is getting ready for an NIT Final Four next weekend as well.
It's a full plate for that entire staff. It's great. Jason Caldwell, AuburnUndercover.com. We appreciate you as always. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You too, buddy. Thank you, Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover. Great insight and analysis as always from our man Jason Caldwell. Good stuff there, man. A lot going on. NIT Final Four, big series in Tuscaloosa this weekend, spring football. I'm hearing a little chirping on that football practice field over at Auburn. Think could be a little different this fall.
We're about 10 minutes away from a visit with our Tiger insider, Rodney Orr, brought to you by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. I'm just saying, if we start talking women's basketball, I'm out. Rodney.
I got to get the lowdown on why Christy Curry left Tuscaloosa to head to South Florida.
I got you. All that's still to come as we close out hour number one of Longshore and McKnight in a moment, in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
The Destin Connection Seafood Market at 3750 Norman Bridge Road in Montgomery has the freshest seafood direct from the Gulf of America. I'm talking red snapper and grouper, all sizes of Gulf shrimp, jumbo lump crab meat and crab claws, Louisiana Bay oysters, and New Bedford scallops. They are a full-service seafood market and kitchen serving po' boys, dinners, and sandwiches. You know, many well-known restaurants in the river region purchase their seafood from the Destin Connection because they know it's the absolute best. Call ahead and your order will be ready for pickup. The Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call 288-4272. That's 288-4272. Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us. A couple of minutes at the top of the hour. Rodney Orr, the Tiger Insider, scheduled to join us at that time. I was just throwing it out there, which I've been known to do from time to time, and see if it sticks. I guess I could have gone through the entire – is it 32 teams in the NIT? I believe it is. It's only 32 in the NIT.
Right.
For the NCAA.
Right.
And I was just really kind of spitballing there when I made the comment, is Auburn the only Power 4 team in the NIT, or there's got to have been others?
There were others. Yeah. That was the question is not whether they have them.
They just hadn't played any of them.
Well, they've I know they're the only one still remaining in the whole deal, which I figured was the question. Right now,
team. I don't think Seattle is. Who they play first? I forgot who the first team they beat was.
South Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who won between Cal and St. Joseph's. I guess California is Wichita State. I got to get on my game with the NIT. Let me figure all of this out here.
Barry, don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up, because obviously it's not a big deal for the Auburn fan base that packs Neville Arena night in and night out. This is 3 games in a row. And okay, I'll admit it. I've taken a look just to see how many empty seats. I will say this, Barry, they do a great job of making sure the seats that are on camera the most are full. They do a really good job of that. It's those seats in the corners and the end zones, and you can't even see those sections that are way up there. And there's not a lot of seats up there, but there's a section kind of the upper deck, if you will. So you can't ever see that anyway. But
I apologize. I misread the whole thing when John and I thought that he asked out of the goodness of his heart just a simple trivia question, a question designed to gain knowledge. When he said, is Auburn the only Power 4 team in the NIT? I thought he really wanted to know. No, it was just a setup for him to needle the Aubs. I thought I'm sitting here with a pure heart and conscience saying, okay, well, let me find out. And John didn't even wait for me to find out. He's like, I guess people don't care because ain't nobody in there. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. I thought he was asking because he was sincerely interested in finding out the answer. And no, it's just an entree. It's just a little wedge, an icebreaker to get into some dogging here.
Well, wait a minute. I'm going to take up for myself this one time. I just, wanted to point out that there were a lot of empty seats last night, as there has been the prior 2 NIT games that Auburn has hosted.
Yeah.
But I did really want to know about Power 4 programs. So really, yes, I did want to know that. I did not really go into the Power 4 question as a setup for the next statement that I made. It just happened to roll off. It
just seems to flow.
Yeah.
Better that way. Also, as we bring up a little Auburn here, I don't know that even if they had a sellout that Auburn would have had the infrastructure to take care of them, because they ain't bringing the entire, every concession stand better not be open. Every security guard who normally mans Neville Arena when Kentucky or Alabama comes in, hopefully they didn't have all them there, because I think they probably expected that it wasn't going to be that
in
big.
Auburn where you just, I don't know what they call it, but you don't actually go through a traditional concession stand area. You just go in there, pick it up, and it charges your phone or your card or something.
I think that's right. Yeah,
I've seen it in professional venues.
Yep.
I'm not really sure how you pay for it, but there's really nobody there. So it's almost like a self-checkout.
Well,
in a grocery store.
Also, since we're talking basketball, the odds are out about this job. According to CBSSports.com, North Carolina fired Hubert Davis on Tuesday. They asked him to resign. He said, no, I want to stay. So they fired him, and now his buyout's going to be $5 million. A couple of people have said that they're out of that coaching search.
Okay.
Is Brad Stevens, who was the head coach at Butler, brought them to two championship games. He's now he used to be the coach of the Celtics. Now he's the Celtics president. He's not interested. I don't think that T.J. Otzenberger out of Iowa State is interested. Made that. The odds, according to CBSSports.com, the odds-on favorite to get the job is current sitting Chicago Bulls head coach Billy Donovan, who took Florida to the NCAA championship back-to-back in 06 and 07. Otzelberger at Iowa State was the second best odds. But I think that his athletic directors, told his fans that he's going to be staying. The third best odds, Alabama coach Nate Oates. Billy Donovan, the odds via CBS Sportsline plus 250. Nate Oates, odds via Sportsline plus 700. And this is what they write. One thing to note about Oates as the coaching carousel ramps up, his buyout at Alabama drops from $18 million, $10 million on April 1st.
Yeah, which is next week.
Yes. The most successful coach in Alabama history has guided the program to the NCAA tournament 6 times, including the program's first Final Four appearance in 2024. Oates was also in the mix for the Kentucky job in 2024, but he quickly shut down the rumors on social media and said he was committed to Alabama. But with Otzelberger, I guess, out, I read that. Nate Oates, according to CBSSports.com, has the second best odds.
Well, you're going to hear Oates' name a lot. And I was citing our friend Kevin Skarbinski here. Over the past 7 seasons, Alabama has more overall wins than North Carolina, more conference wins, despite the ACC playing more league games,
right?
More conference championships, more NCAA tournament bids, more tournament wins, more Sweet 16s, more Elite Eights, and just as many Final Four trips. Head-to-head, Oates is 3-1 against North Carolina. So got a pretty good record, but is he blue enough to go to Carolina Blue? You know, they're kind of they have that kind of air about them. You know, some people say there's a football program that has the same type of air about them. But
if he is blue blood enough to coach at Alabama, he's blue blood enough to coach at North Carolina. Now, North Carolina is one of my favorite places. My mother used to work there on campus when I went to high school in North Carolina. It is amazing at UNC. But to question his blue-bloodedness, Johnny's the coach at Alabama. Goodness gracious. You talk about hoity and toity. You talk about smug and superior. Believe me. That's the pinnacle right there. So
that might make him the front runner then. If they're looking for a guy that's been around smugness and knows what it's about.
6 years, baby, or 7, or however long it's been. Yeah,
that's interesting. So, you know, is Bama? You know, Barry, as I'm out and about on the streets and the sidewalks,
bebopping around, checking around. What's the word, fellas? What's going on?
I don't hear people going, "Hey, man, is Alabama going to lose Nate Oates?" I don't hear that.
I think you're missing out on something. You also didn't hear that Scott Cross went to Georgia Tech. You didn't hear that Georgia fans really feel strongly about the Auburn football series. I just don't hear that from Georgia. You know, let's go into all the things that John doesn't hear about on the street. Then I'm thinking, are you kidding me? You don't know about that? Come on.
I still can't believe I didn't know about the Scott Cross thing till like 2 days later. But I was kind of unavoidably detained.
Yes.
Hey, our man Rodney Orr, he is the Tider Insider. He is brought to you each and every week by our good friends at the Destin Connection Seafood Market, 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Told you about the great seafood David and that staff hooked me up with last week. It was absolutely outstanding. The triple tail, the snapper, the sea bass, fantastic. They've got that and so much more. Go by and see them or call ahead. Your order will be ready for pickup, 288-4272.
Good morning, Rodney. How are you?
Good morning, guys. How are the both of you?
We're doing well. You said something last week. It was kind of in passing. It wasn't a point about Alabama athletics, but you've said it before, and somebody was laughing about it. You said I have to be careful what I say sometimes because people think that people think that I'm too positive sometimes or too negative about this, especially when it comes to people saying, well, Rodney must, sometimes it's not that way. You have to really couch what you say in careful terms. But you have been pretty positive about the way spring practice has gone so far with Alabama.
Really all you have to go on, because we don't have much observation time, right? I mean, we've had 12 minutes total so far, and they're going into practice 6. So it's difficult to tell. You really go on, and you guys do the same thing. The people you talk to, practice observers, and a lot of those people that you talk to, we're not talking to them unless we trust them. And they're really good sources. They know what they're looking at. A lot of them are, frankly, former players, whether it's at Alabama or somewhere else. And so, yeah, you have to be careful, but it does sound like from the feedback we've gotten, everything has been fairly positive. It's not that they don't have question marks, and we ran through a lot of those last week. I mean, there's big question marks about the offensive line. There's big question marks about the defensive line. There's big question marks about inside linebacker, and you have inexperienced quarterbacks. Although we hear both of those guys, Austin Mack and Keelan Russell, have looked fabulous this spring. That's the feedback we've gotten. That's not predicting that Alabama's going to go on this, national championship run next year. It's just you try to balance what you hear and provide it the best way you can. But it does seem like right now the attitude has been really good. I heard the practices have been very spirited, a lot of enthusiasm. And the one thing that really stuck out to me, John and Barry, was that they've been very competitive, a lot of competition.
Yeah, that's very good to hear. Like hearing that, a lot of guys going after it, as they used to say, or getting after it, as they used to say on the practice field. Rodney, when you have observed this team, and I know it hadn't been a lot of time you've had the opportunity to do it, have you noticed players that look different, have gained some weight, have lost some weight? I understand Ryan Williams has put some weight on.
Well, here's the thing with Ryan Williams, or Ryan Coleman Williams, whatever. He was 17 years old when he got here. We know that.
Yeah.
He's going to naturally get bigger and stronger, and he looks like he's gotten a little taller. He's filled out some. Yes, he definitely looks better to me physically. I mean, he looks more mature. He looks more developed. And I think if you look, Daniel Hill is a guy that just jumped off the charts at me in that observation period that we had, because he had lost a lot of. He's trimmed up. He's muscled up. Last year he was Grubb said he was in the 250s, and now he's down low 230s. So that's 20 pounds. His feet look much quicker. He looked more confident, just, in his movements and things like that. So there's numerous guys. You can just kind of scan the field and look at them and look, David Ballou and his staff are doing their job. Now, whether or not they're a physical football team, which is what, I hear this, and frankly, I hear it to talk to high school coaches, whoever it might be. And the one thing they say is that's not a very physical football team. Just watching. Yep. So whether or not they're physical, that's a different story. But David Ballou and his staff have certainly got them looking good.
You've talked before many times with you about the desire from virtually every Alabama coaching staff for versatility along the offensive line. Have they been kind of mixing and matching in spring so far that you've been able to detect, Rodney?
Barry, that's a great question. I'll tell you why, because ring that bell. I
gotta go get a bell. I left my bell at my old place. Get a new bell.
But here's why, because Nick Saban had this philosophy in the spring. It's a time to kind of experiment a lot, move guys around, build some versatility. He wanted guys that could play multiple spots, and he wanted them to be ready to do that. DeBoer made a comment earlier this spring that he wanted to try to position guys as quickly as possible so they could develop a comfort level. Now, it's a different time because you've got a lot of new faces, right. So I kind of understand that. But that's why I think the first week was so important, because you don't really know these guys because it's the first time you've been on the field with them. So many new faces on the offensive line, for example. I think it gave them an opportunity to get a better feel for every one of those guys leading into this part of spring. So, yes, I think they have been doing some experimentation based on what I've heard, or kind of moving guys around to get a better feel. Just give me an example, because we know Grubb named Jackson Lloyd the left tackle. So what does that do? Yeah. So what does that do for the transfer from Mississippi State, Javen James, who started 9 games over there at left tackle? What did you bring him in for? To be a backup? Well, not necessarily. They've worked him at right tackle some. And we know Michael Carroll's there. But what else did Grubb say? The versatility that Carroll has to play other positions. A lot of people think he's more of a natural guard. So you move him inside and look at him there. Not saying that's how it's going to end up. I know Nick Brooks, the transfer from Texas, started 4 or 5 games there for them at guard. He's got the potential to play right tackle. He's gotten some looks at right tackle. So we'll see how it all ends up. I don't think it's a ton of experimentation, Barry, but I think it's certainly they're trying to find where guys fit best.
Rodney, for the last several years, you have really stressed the need to recruit really good athletic defensive linemen. I don't know how successful they've been in doing that, but how would you shape up this defensive line during the spring, and what are you expecting out of them this fall?
Well, actually, one of the sources that I spoke with, I really trust, told me the defensive line has been pretty solid. They're very excited about the new guys, the transfers that they brought in. Devin Tompkins from USC, Kedrick Bingley Jones from Mississippi State. Of course, he's going into his 7th year. And then Terrence Green, a lot of high expectations for him. So they brought in some size and athleticism. You look at Green, he's 6'6", 330. You look at Bingley Jones, he's 6'4", 310. You look at Tompkins, and he's a guy that's probably going to play more outside, some on the inside, but he's about 6'5", 290 or so. So they brought in some size and athleticism. A lot of excitement about those guys. London Simmons, of course, returning, had a good freshman year. He didn't play. I mean, he's not available this spring to do much. And then also Jeremiah Beeman coming back is really big. So right now it sounds like the feedback I got on the defensive line is that you lost those 3 guys up front, but this still has a chance to be a really solid front.
Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com. Tomorrow night, 6:35, Alabama men's basketball plays in the Sweet 16 against Michigan. And Nate Oates has been more successful than any coach in Alabama history to this point. He's going to get named for as a candidate for other jobs, including North Carolina. I've heard people talk about the North Carolina job. Basketball is king in Chapel Hill. He'll never get the basketball program at Alabama to be obviously more well thought of in football. That's not a possibility, but that he may be tired of being second fiddle on campus. Is that even a thing to you, Rodney? I mean, Alabama basketball's got everything they need for success. Is it even a thing where somebody's thinking, I'm never going to be the big dog here on this campus and move on? Does that inform anybody's decision about a job like North Carolina's or not?
It could. Now, again, I don't know, what Nate Oates' exact thinking is. I think there's probably several reasons for him. But also, John and Barry, think about this. Nate Oates can say, I can go to North Carolina and I can be part of that tradition. I can be part of all the success that they've had, the great coaches and all of that. Or I could be here at Alabama where this is my baby. I am the man. I do believe we can win a national championship here. We have been to the Final Four. We've got what it takes to succeed and do it here. And I'm the man. I go to North Carolina. The expectations there are going to be. I mean, not that the expectations here aren't high, because they probably are somewhat unrealistic. And I'll say this because I think part of that's a lot of Alabama basketball fans kind of have the expectations carry over from football to basketball now. Yeah. They're expecting Final Four runs every year. So, again, I don't really know. There's probably some personal reasons too for Nate Oates to stay here right now. I think he has some daughters that he wants to, stay close to until they're out of school. Those types of things. So, frankly, I don't know how seriously North Carolina is going to consider him. Maybe they will, but I just don't know.
Rodney, what's the buzz on the street? Is there concern from the fan base that Nate Oates will leave?
Well, yeah, I think so. Now, when you say that, I mean, that's just a general comment. I don't think there's panic.
Yeah,
I think there is we know Nate Oates is a valuable commodity, and certainly North Carolina would be a threat if they came after him hard. I mean, I think that's, pretty much the logic there. But here's the thing too. There's other coaches out there that I think, Alabama could attract if he left. So I don't think all is lost. But if he did leave, but I wouldn't say it's at the panic level, John. but I do think that people are certainly keeping a close eye on it.
And I wonder, Rodney, if maybe this ramps up a little bit next week when his buyout drops by $8 million.
Mm-hmm. Good. April 1st, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
From 18 to 10. Yeah.
Yep. So we'll see. I mean, heck, you never know. Now, again, I'll say this, and I know that everything he's asked for, John and Barry, he's gotten. He wanted the training facility. They got it for him. He wanted more NIL. They got it for him immediately. So there's something to be said for that too.
There definitely is. Along those same lines, Christy Curry had been the women's basketball coach at Alabama for a long time, and she'd had good success, not the ultimate success or anything. Were you surprised that she leaves to take the job at the University of South Florida, leaving Alabama, Rodney?
Yeah, I mean, I guess because of I didn't expect South Florida, but we had been hearing buzz that she may be headed somewhere else. Northwestern was one that was mentioned. So I was caught off guard by South Florida, to be honest with you, but apparently they're throwing a big package at her in terms of NIL and, I don't know what her contract will be there. But 13 years, she did a really good job. Now, John, Barry, I'll say this. Sometimes in a coaching tenure, there needs to be a breath of fresh air. And maybe that worked on both sides. She needed to move on now. It's time for her to finish out her career somewhere else. And I think Alabama probably, it got to the point where, okay, she did get it to a certain level, but she never really got it. And I'm not saying it's her fault, just saying she didn't get it past, that first, second round, whatever. So she did a really fantastic job, no doubt about it. But it was probably just reading the tea leaves, probably a breath of fresh air for both.
The way I read it, Rodney, is based on reports, Alabama spent the least amount of any other school in the league on women's basketball. That translates to me that their NIL isn't very large. They don't travel or maybe have assistant coaches or whatever else it takes to be successful in women's basketball, like a South Carolina or LSU. That was probably very frustrating to her. But on Greg Byrne's side of it, let's face it, in this day and age, you got to put all your eggs in the baskets that are generating the revenue, which is football and basketball. And you can't, take a little bit here and a little bit there. You got to focus it all on that. And unfortunately, it hurts a lot of these non-revenue sports. But I think athletic directors all over the country are facing obstacles like this. Do we really, want to put money into volleyball when football is what really needs it? To me, athletic directors are in kind of a bind.
100%, John. Could not have said it better. I think you're right.
Is that it? Does that fall in the category of good question?
Great question. Ring that bell again.
Yeah, you go. There you go. Although somebody just texted me and said, Rodney Orr said losing a coach named Curry, needing a breath of fresh air, needing a fresh start. Has that ever happened before at the University of Alabama?
That was a big breath of fresh air, Barry.
Hey, listen, I'd like to know who sent you that text. I'm not going to ask you, Barry, but that's a good one.
Our friends at the Destin Connection Seafood Market bring you Rodney Orr each and every week. The freshest seafood direct from the Gulf, arriving daily at 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call ahead 288-4272. Your order will be ready for pickup. It's still crawfish season. Plenty of fresh crawfish. Call ahead to pick those up at the Destin Connection. Hey, Rodney, also the game tomorrow night against Michigan. Alabama's a pretty big underdog. They played, to me, the best game I've seen them play, in a long time, Sunday against Texas Tech.
Whew.
They're going to have to duplicate that, in my mind, to be able to beat a team like Michigan.
Yeah, I was trying to think, they're going to have to play their best game in a long time. Michigan's so big. They're 33-3 for a reason. They're big, they're powerful. You look inside, Lindenborg, Mara Gomez there. They're just 7-3. I mean, they've got the power. They can score.
Yeah.
Look, Alabama leads the country in scoring. Michigan's not far behind, like 4 points a game behind. So they can score. They can rebound. They can do it all. Their guards can shoot. I think for Alabama to have a real chance here, they've got to create some turnovers, which Michigan is a little prone to that. They've got to create a lot of turnovers. They've got to shoot lights out. They've got to at least be competitive on the boards somehow, some way. But I will say this, John and Barry, and this team should be really focused because Alabama's a good basketball team. They're playing with a lot of chemistry right now, and they're not getting any respect really at all. And understandably, because Michigan's so good. But even against Texas Tech, think about this. All those guys on the TV set picked Texas Tech to win.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you're Alabama, man, listen, I think this team's got some punch to it in terms of the chemistry that they have. A lot of these guys, man, Phylon, Millette, Reitzel,
yeah,
Aiden Sherrill. Listen, Noah Williamson even came off the bench and, is having some, and Bo Bowen's coming around.
Yeah.
Just so many guys contributing in a big way. So I'm going to make you this prediction.
Oh,
Michigan's probably going to win this game, but I do expect Alabama to make it a real challenge. Now, they may get blown out. That's very possible, but I think Alabama's going to really play well.
I've asked this before. Earlier in the program, Rodney, we had a very solid conversation with United States Senator Tommy Tuberville, who is sponsoring a bill in Congress to limit athlete eligibility in college to 5 years. That's all you get. 5 years, no matter what, no matter medical redshirt here, this and that. 5 years, and that's it. And limit the transfer as well. Does that make sense to you? Do you think that needs to happen?
Has to be rules. I mean, we got some guys playing 7, 8, 9 years.
yeah. Whoa.
And then some guys are getting turned down for a 6th year. For a 6 year. And you're like, okay, what's the big difference, So there's no rules. There's no uniformity. There's no consistency. That's really it. They're basically, you wonder, how do you enforce some of these things in some of these situations? But yes, I would agree with him. There has to be rules. This is supposed to be college athletics. It's not anymore. It's professional. But 5 years, that's what it's always been. And whatever else he was, I don't remember the whole spill that Tuberville laid out, but there has to be some rules and regulations somehow, some way. And you wonder if I thought by now we would have some. I really did. You asked me 2-3 years ago. I was told, give us 2 years. I was told by an athletic director.
Yep.
I was told by an athletic director, give us 2 years.
Here we are. I remember you saying that, Rodney, because we talked about that. It was 18 months. We'll have it figured out. Talking to donors about donating money. I know we've been stretching you thin, but give us 18 months. Well, here that's long gone past, and we're still here. I will recommend this, Rodney. If you got a minute, you can go back and listen to our interview with Senator Tuberville anytime that it is convenient with you on Facebook, YouTube, X, Spotify, X, Apple Tunes. It'll be there. It is right 5 minutes into the show. Coach Tuberville joined us from his office in D.C., so you can check that out and listen to the entire interview. It's about 17, 18 minutes long. Before we let you go, tell our listeners how they can be more involved with Tighter Insider. You're on top of it. Spring football in full swing. Obviously, big basketball tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I heard there's a little baseball series coming up this weekend. I don't know. You know anything about that, Rodney?
Yeah. Auburn should be interesting, shouldn't it? And how about that baseball team? How about that baseball team? Tyler Fay, the no-hitter. So and then they swept Florida, which was big. So makes this series even more, interesting.
Always good. TighterInsider.com, right, Rodney?
That's it. Only $48 a year. You can get instant access with your credit card. You prefer, there is an address there to send a check, and that gives you the premium information. But also, it's our all sports forum, man. I mean, it's a community there where a lot of discussion, guys. You know how it is, nonstop.
It is awesome. Hey, thank you as well, Rodney. We greatly appreciate your time. We'll talk again next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
You too, buddy. Thank you. Rodney Orr, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. Go out and see our friends today. The freshest seafood direct from the Gulf, arriving daily. 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Call ahead. Your order will be ready for pickup. 288-4272.
Now, again, Alabama plays. I mean, there's Sweet 16 games tonight beginning at 6:10. Texas versus Purdue beginning tomorrow. The rest of the Sweet 16 begins at 6:10. St. John's versus Duke. That's going to be amazing. Alabama plays at 6:35 tomorrow night in the Sweet 16 in Chicago in the Midwest region against Michigan. And according to CBS Sports and John Rothstein, Aiden Holloway was not on the plane.
Didn't make the trip.
Did not make the trip.
Yeah.
They didn't need him. They didn't need him against Texas Tech. That's for doggone
I'm not sure he made that trip either.
So, unless he is heading up I-65 himself, which I would do, you're not going to have him tomorrow night. And Michigan is a team, unlike Texas Tech, that could probably take advantage of that. Michigan is
they're good. They're good. Speaking of good, Phantom's Daily Dog coming up.
You already know how that's going to turn out. That's next. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer. News presented by Bud Light.
You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs. Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel. Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information. Okay, welcome back in, everybody. Glad you're with us. 27 minutes past the hour. Bart He scheduled to join us here in a couple of minutes, our college basketball insider. Looking forward to getting his thoughts about the tournament and what he has seen so far, what he's predicting will happen from this point on. But it was a tough night last night because I had to kind of juggle a few things. I know Auburn was on ESPN2. They're just ultra exciting NIT matchup with who were they playing again?
This is like a free shot. This is like we're in the Phantom's Daily Dog segment.
Yeah,
and he is still Auburn. Who? What? Yeah,
I think it was Nevada. I think was that who they were playing. Yeah. So I got that on, but then Barry, I flip it over.
You do not have that on.
Well, believe it or not,
I call Bravo Sierra. There is no way that the Longshore household or anywhere that John happened to find himself last night had the Auburn basketball game on in the NIT any longer than it took for John to say, "Ooh, empty seats. I see them. Okay, that's all I need to know. I am ready for the show on Thursday."
Actually, I turned it on to say, "Ooh, Auburn's down," but that wasn't the case. They were up every time I turned it on. And I did see some empty seats, but I did kind of watch. And then I flipped it over to ESPN. And, of course, the wife goes, "You're not going to watch the Auburn game?" And I went, huh? But then I flipped it over to ESPN where the Atlanta Hawks were taking on the Detroit Pistons in an NBA game, which the Phantom was mentioned yesterday in his Daily Dog. And I don't know if I know you had to slip out a little early, Barry.
Yeah,
we did have a winner on Wednesday with the Pelicans covering against the Knicks.
I did get that, but I didn't get this one. Went to overtime.
Barry, let me tell you, it was an unbelievable game. I maybe watched 3 minutes of the Auburn game. I watched 30 of this NBA game. The Hawks and the Pistons. The Hawks get out to a big lead, Barry. They're up 73-55 at halftime. I'm thinking, oh, okay, here we go. Then I check on it again later on. In the third quarter, there was a period in the third quarter, midway through the third quarter. The Pistons scored 24 points. The Hawks scored 8. And I'm thinking, whoa, what is going on here?
Third quarter, Detroit outscores Atlanta just in the quarter by 15.
I'm thinking, this ain't good. But we scratch and claw our way back to get it to overtime. C.J. McCollum had a shot in regulation that did not go in. Former Pelican, C.J. McCollum, really good player. So they go to OT, and the Hawks jump out quick. I mean, they got like a 5-point lead. 5-point lead in overtime. Of course, I'm thinking 5 plus the 3. Oh, they're up by 8. Oh, okay. We're in pretty good shape here. They kind of scratch and claw, and the Pistons miss a shot from like 3 feet from the bucket. Some big man just doesn't put enough on it, hits the front of the rim and bounces out, which it could have gone in, Barry, because, man, okay. I mean, it could have gone in, and the Pistons would have won by 1. We were catching 3.
3, yeah.
Yeah, but, since the Hawks played so well and scratched and clawed their way back, we were kind of happy that they actually won the game outright, catching the 3 points. So, do the math. Once again, the Phantom's Daily Dog not only covers, but has an outright win to go along with it.
Nice.
So we're happy about that. So 2 in a row from the NBA with the Phantoms Daily. And it was a good game. I got to tell you. I mean, my wife looks at me and goes, "Are you not going to go back to the Auburn game?" And I'm going, "Are you kidding me? This game's great. This is awesome." And I mean, physical. There were so many sequences in that NBA game last night. I'm going, foul, 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 another foul, a walk, another foul. They don't ever call it. It's great.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You don't. Do you ever see traveling in the NBA? There's clips all the time of, especially LeBron faking left, jab step right, step back, all it without a dribble. There's never a dribble. He looks like Fred Astaire out there.
Oh,
taking so many steps.
And you hear people say, they give it to your best player and everybody clears out. That last play in regulation for the Hawks, they give it to C.J. McCollum, who's been in the league a long time.
For a while, yeah.
I saw him live when he was with the Pelicans, light it up for about 40 one night. It was unbelievable. All the other 4 players for the Hawks are in the corners. They're as far away from the bucket as they can get.
They know that if they touch that basketball, they're going to be in big trouble.
So it was an entertaining game. We got a winner, so let's move on. We don't want to harp on one win, Barry.
Well, you do, but you have enough self-discipline to know that enough's enough. Okay.
So I was a little, when I heard this earlier today, I went, okay, but they can win outright. We can allow that. We just don't want them to win by a large margin. That's kind of like the theme of the Daily Dog. I mean, we'd like for them to win, kind of like last night, but if they don't, just at least cover the spread. Barry, we're going with a game tonight that starts at 8:45 on CBS. We're one of the number 1 seeds, Arizona, a team that Senator Tuberville was high on, thinks they got a really good chance of winning it all.
So does your boy McKnight here. Yep.
taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks, who have got, I think, Barry, not only the best player in the SEC, but the best player in the country.
Yeah, his name is Darius Acuff Jr., and he just signed a big deal with a shoe company. He ain't going to be the number one pick in the NBA draft, but he might. He is all that.
He is a player. Good work ethic, good player, good attitude. And you got John Calipari. This guy's had a little experience in this little tournament they call the NCAA March Madness, particularly when you get into the Sweet 16 and further. The guy's done well. Knows the stuff. You know, I know they're going up against big, bad Arizona, but I like Cal, and I like who I think is the best player in the country, able to keep this thing within 8. I'm taking the Hogs in the 8 tonight in a game that, maybe they might shock the world.
Now, this is going to be another one of those nights, or tomorrow is going to be another one of those shows where John's going to be a little bit groggy. Geez, I had to stay up late. This game, it's in San Jose tonight at 8:45 Central Time on CBS.
Yeah.
8:45.
Yeah.
So, he's going to have to stay up late to see if Arkansas gets in under the 8. And tomorrow, make sure you have plenty of coffee. That is our Phantoms Daily Dog. When we come back,
yes, sir,
our hoops aficionado, that's Bart He. He joins us on Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
At Dixie Overhead Door, we specialize in top-quality garage door solutions for homes across Alabama and Georgia. In need of a garage door repair or a brand new garage door installation, our expert team delivers fast, reliable service with local expertise that you can trust, providing customized solutions and exceptional care every step of the way. Visit us today at DixieOverheadDoor.com and experience the Dixie difference.
Hey, where's the beer guy? Bud Light here? You got a Bud Light? Bud Light? I'm here, Bud Light! Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light here? Bud Light where? Bud Light here! Oh, Bud Light there! I missed that because of you! You did not miss that play because of me! Tough to stop talking this way? Yeah! It's actually kind of fun. Hey! I got your Bud Light. Oh, nice. Never mind! Anything for the clean, crisp taste of Bud Light. What'd I miss? I have no idea.
Local banking expertise, the newest innovations and technology, personal attention, genuine hospitality. It's all just part of the River Bank and Trust difference. They invite you to experience it for yourself. Welcome to banking above and beyond at River Bank and Trust. Locations throughout the River region, locations throughout the state of Alabama. River Bank and Trust. Okay, back at it here, about 23 minutes to the top of the hour. Man, we have been loaded up with guests today. Senator Tommy Tuberville to kick things off this morning. Jason Caldwell, Auburn Undercover. Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider. Now our man Bart He, member of the Mississippi State Final Four team. He's our college basketball insider. Bart, how you doing today, my man?
Oh, just walking outside, having a little cup of coffee over Doc Artie's golf club this morning over here in Mountain Brook. That's how they live.
You are in high cotton today there, my man. Woo, little Mountain Brook club action. Yeah. Love it.
You better pay attention driving there. I mean, it's just there's so many curves up in the hills and curves and limbs and workers just at UPS stopping in the middle of the road. I mean, this place is different.
You can play it off the UPS truck, though. Yeah. That's still
they call it the Tiny Kingdom up there, Bart.
Well, that's why I'm going to Old Overton, where the Walker County folks that built it. I feel more comfortable with the Drummonds.
Yeah, that's right.
We're doing okay over here. I'm on the rebound a little bit, Bart, but I've come to terms with it down there at Troy. You had asked about that before, and that was a thing. Scott Cross to Georgia Tech. That reaction from you about that, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's like a lot of coaching changes that have happened over the last 50 years. It was about a relationship, in my opinion, of someone who'd been at Troy, that had moved on to a place, and the coach that was there still kept having success, and Coach Cross. And I just think that this one was a really good fit for Georgia Tech. They've needed this. They've needed some take the stairs mentality, toughness, if you will, as the ACC has declined. They haven't elevated. They went the former player route. It didn't work. I just think Scott Cross is an elite basketball coach, but he's an even better developer of men. And I think that's what we sometimes forget is going on and what these coaches are really, really doing. Yeah, they're getting the money, but they're steering our next, generation of leaders. So I think he's going to be successful anywhere he goes. I think that will be at Georgia Tech as well. And I think Troy is one of the sneaky, good mid-major jobs in America. I've always thought that if you can, recruit locally a little bit, go out and add a couple of pieces. But the Sun Belt Conference is tough, and you're going to need to make a good hire if you're Troy here. But, Barry, I loved your tweet when you were in Hattiesburg, man. Just the emotion that you showed wear on your shoulder. And, hey, I was – I kind of dabble a little bit here and there in some different things. I get some calls. Obviously, my phone's been pretty busy the last few days as high school jobs open up, college coaches move here and there. But how about Grant Leonard? I'm sure you got what you want. But I know that searches are always probably already done. It was probably way ahead of me. But if y'all, he may be in the mix. But Barry, I don't think you're going to have to worry about finding a quality coach at Troy.
I don't either. Speaking of quality coaches for jobs, North Carolina's open. Mm-hmm. Nate Oates is. Oh, you got to let me at least finish the question, Bart. Before
I didn't say anything. I forgot we're on video. My bad.
Nate Oates to Carolina is already a head shake.
Oh yeah. If Nate Oates goes anywhere, I do not believe it will be North Carolina. Would you like me to elaborate on that?
I would
please elaborate further.
Elaborate. The stage is yours, Bart.
Mark Byington's going to North Carolina.
I like him. Yeah.
And he can really coach. I think that job will be his to turn down. If it were Nate Oates, I think he leaves. I don't think you can stay at Alabama and turn down North Carolina or Kansas or Kentucky.
Okay.
Those are kind of the three. Maybe Arizona now. But I think Nate Oates is going to Kansas, guys. And what does that open the door for? Which is even more interesting, John Longshore. If Nate Oates does leave, who's Alabama and Greg Burns' first call?
Bruce Pearl?
It starts with a B.
I would have said somebody
Ball.
like Antoine Petway, but what do I know?
Yes.
Now, Barry, do you want to go ahead and tell Bart how ahead of my time I am when before they hired Nate Oates 7 years ago, who's the first person that said, I tell you, there's this guy at Mountain Brook, Alabama really ought to give him a good
Bucky McMillan, yes.
Are you kidding me?
The Phantom strikes again in a different way. My thought process on this is, okay, I'm going to say it like there's just so many different dominoes, man, that they still hadn't fallen yet and you don't know. But Bucky McMillan's in a really good spot here. If Nate Oates were to leave, a really good financial spot because you're going to get A&M and Alabama bidding.
Ooh, and that's a good thing.
That is a good thing for anybody that's trying to make money. If you get two powerhouses in any business going it's going to be like the Steinbrenner Tyson chicken thing with George when he's trying to steal him to come out to Arkansas. Yeah. Mary. Well, I'm of all of everything we just talked about because nothing's happened yet. I like Byington really solid going to North Carolina. I think that's pretty solid. And then I think Nate Oates is going to have to turn Kansas down, and he's going to tell them to wait on him. And but here's the only other thing that nobody's talked about. Do you remember who Bucky lost to in the NCAA tournament when he was at Sanford a couple of years ago?
I do not.
How was that last year? He almost beat Kansas. So that has to make an impression. Bill Self has to. I think Bucky McMillan or Nate Oates will be the next coach at Kansas. That I believe, that also could throw Bucky into Alabama. He don't want to leave, but dude, this is show money right now, not show friends.
Well, let's talk about between the baselines now. The actual on the court. Alabama beat the dog snot out of Texas Tech in the second round without Aiden Holloway. A, were you surprised? And B, is that even a possibility against Michigan coming up tomorrow night?
I mean, anytime Alabama lines up with the system, whether it's at Romulus, Buffalo, Alabama. I was watching some old Romulus high school highlights.
Of course you were.
Last night late. Yeah, they can beat Michigan. I'm not surprised Alabama's there. They have been as good at dealing with adversity and injuries in Nate Oates' tenure as any program I've ever seen. You think about the Brandon Miller thing. You think about just all the injuries. But here's the thing that is different about this whole situation. They're better defensively without Holloway. We talked about that here last week.
Yep, right.
They're going to get longer. They're going to get bigger. They're going to get more versatile. He was a lot of the problem in the ball screen action. And Sherrell's gotten better at that, being able to defend it. And you about to play a couple of teams that you go see some ball screens, and you go have two bigs down there, not just one, sometimes three. Here's the most interesting thing about this game to me, though. I want to see how they guard Yaxel Lindenberg. Because, guys, I think he's going to get the fouling call. The way Michigan has been putting their bigs, they're so versatile. You got to attack Linden. I know he's a great defender, but you got to keep attacking him to maybe tire him out, because if this game stays close,
right?
Okay, who's going to be the creator? Who are they going to go to? I don't think Michigan will be in the same situation they were in when they had to make the shot in the semifinals against whoever it was in the Big Ten, to where they didn't know what they were doing down the stretch. I think this game's close. But the size of Michigan in the second half, Alabama's going to either have to be up 10 or 12 the whole game, come out making shots early, or Alabama's going to have to score a lot of tough twos. I just don't think you're going to see Dusty May let Alabama beat him with a 3-point shot. And I like Alabama for a long time tomorrow. They can pull it off, but I see Michigan moving on somehow with all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just think it's too big of a task, but I will say I think I've never seen such a complete team win that they had against Texas Tech. Guys coming off the bench and contributing, guys taking up for Aiden Holloway's absence. And their best player, Fallon, didn't have his best night, but other guys took over and, just were the difference.
It's a culture, and Alabama has built, and Nate Oates has built what he feels like, and it's showing his accountability, on God, especially when I just loved the Nate Oates comment that he said, well, maybe we all as the adults in the room should think about what this kid needs right now, other than the fact that he's going to play or something like that. And that's it. We're sitting here talking to so many people just in our network and conversations. And I'm just going to say something across the state. They about to be a big time out of nowhere hire by of a young kid that I'm extremely happy about. And I hopefully can talk about it with y'all next week. Shout out to my guy. I'm just so proud of. I don't have a son, closest thing, so I'm kind of bursting. But we were talking for the last 4 days, just over and over and over, about the things that matter. Even in high school basketball, Barry and John.
Yeah.
Culture, retention. Those two things.
Yeah.
That is the two things that epitomize successful basketball teams. And experience. Like at Purdue. But that experience comes from the retention of staying and wanting to play somewhere.
Hey, before we let you leave, we wanted to get your thoughts about tonight's games. The Sweet 16, we got 4 matchups. One of them we've kind of just touched on, Arkansas and Arizona. What are your thoughts?
Guys, I'm going to make a prediction, and I'm happy just like the high school. If I'm wrong and it proves me wrong, get on me. I do not think we see an SEC team in the Final 8 this year. I think all 4 lose tonight. or all 4 lose this weekend. The Illinois-Houston game is the one I want to see.
Good for you. I was picking that one. That's a 1. I'm sorry, a 2 versus a 3.
And nobody's talking about it. And Illinois is good. They got a freshman named Wagler that nobody recruited. Just like kids in Alabama that are watching this show. He was not recruited by anybody and went to the state tournament and led his team to the 4A state championship. And Brad Underwood was watching somebody like Bart He call the game. And now the kid's playing in the Final Eight against Houston and Calvin Sampson. It's a different Houston team. Flemings, to me, is always the key for Houston. He can explode for 40 or he can explode for 40 turnovers sometimes. This is not the same defensive team. There'll be a lot of offense in this game. Arkansas, Arizona's elite. Again, if anybody's going to win, I think Arkansas has the best chance today. I will say that of the SEC teams. But Arizona is and has been the best team for the majority of the year. Iowa, Nebraska could be epic, guys. 2 games earlier this year. They split, one in overtime. Nebraska's nickname from 1891 or 1992 to 1900, do you know?
I do not, and I even called that game in the first. Nope.
That's a laugh out loud emoji, Barry.
Yeah.
The Iowa State fans that I hung out with last weekend in St. Louis when I was right behind the Queen's bench getting beat by 30 by all those people.
Ooh,
These people care about basketball like Alabama fans can care about football.
Yeah.
And Auburn fans, sorry.
Yeah.
But, I think he looked at me and he said, you realize that Iowa hadn't been to the Sweet 16 since 1999 and we have 5 times. Well, you know what? They went. So now Nebraska plays Iowa. He's making fun of Iowa, and he's making fun of Nebraska's nickname, the Bug Eaters.
The Bug Eaters.
So it's the Bug Eaters versus the Hawkeyes.
That's got to be wrong. That can't be right.
In the battle of who Iowa State hates most. Barry, please look it up. And
the Nebraska Bug. I'm glad that wasn't a Jeopardy question.
Are you pulling for the Bug Eaters tonight?
Ooh, the Bug Eaters.
Or the guy who wears the same shirt that he's worn for like the last 4 to 6 years, I think it's something like him.
I like that.
Kind of a different twist. All these games, look at the coaches in these games, guys. Yeah. And the only game I think is a double-digit game. Some of them could turn into – I think Purdue rolls.
Yeah, Purdue.
I think Texas will be tired. I don't know how they're going to guard Braden Smith because if you take Tremont Mark and try to put him on that and extend all that energy, he ain't going to be nothing offensively. Purdue is big. They can handle Texas this size. Swain, Mark, and Bola Katitis have to go off, or Vokatitis have to go off like for 50 between them. Purdue's good, guys. I saw it up close, the spacing, the angles. Kaufman-Wren, other than my guy Jefferson who's hurt that may play at Iowa State. I told you I got Iowa State winning. Kaufman-Wren is the toughest matchup in the country. He's a monster. And I don't know how they're going to guard him, but we'll see. Sean Miller's done a great job.
There you go. Bart, always appreciate the time. Thank you very much for joining us as always.
Man, I love being with you guys. John, a lot of birdies today.
Hey, hit them long and hit them straight. And don't give anything that's out inside the leather. Make them put them out.
Why do people even do that?
I don't know.
Why do they ask?
Yeah.
Put the ball.
Put it. Thank you, Bart. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk next week. Heish Hoops. Check him out. Bart Heish. He is our college basketball insider.
Coming up, Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 Topic Wheel. It's Longshore McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
The Montgomery Regional Airport is getting better the more you use it. MGM offers multiple nonstop daily flights to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Washington's Reagan National Airport via Delta and American Airlines. And beginning this April, MGM will offer daily nonstop flights to Houston's Intercontinental Airport via United Airlines. All of these cities offer easy connections to destinations all over the country and all over the world. Make travel more cost-effective and less stressful when you utilize your Montgomery Regional Airport. MGM, you can get there from here.
Don't miss your chance to win big at Victoryland Casino. Play the latest, hottest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. Don't miss out on your free play. Stop by Player Rewards today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. Come see why our players keep coming back. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, located off I-85 exit 22, Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Okay, it is time now for the Gurn Jr. Victoryland 777 topic wheel put together by Gurn Jr. We have not seen these topics, Barry. They're new to us.
I'm still reeling about bug eaters. It's all brought to you by Quincy's, by Victoryland 777 Casino, exit 22, I-85 in Shorter, Alabama. It's misspelled, but it's unintentionally.
It's unintentionally misspelled. Yeah. That's exactly right.
There you go. All right, unintentionally. Here on the topic wheel. Unintentionally cheated? Can you even do that? Can you unintentionally cheat? Sam Ryder. Let's see what he did.
Some new rules. Wait, we got too many rules as it is already on the PGA Tour.
He accidentally broke a new PGA Tour rule. Involves regulations for lift clean in place or preferred lies. Previously, when preferred lies rules were in place, the Tour Pro was this is, don't give me all this crud about baseball. Previously, when preferred lies rules were in place, a Tour Pro was allowed to drop within a club length of their original spot after cleaning with the ball. But with the rule change, one of 6 enacted on the PGA Tour this season, players are only afforded the length of their scorecard, about 11 inches for the free drop.
Come on. What's the big deal?
So guaranteed. What? John didn't know that rule.
I did not know that rule. Barry, when I'm on the course, I always ask for a ruling. Hey, man, what's the rule here? I'll let my opponent tell me what it is.
Yeah, It's kind of like, hey, Barry, who did play in the Final Four last year? He doesn't mind asking somebody.
No, hey, I'll ask a question.
That's exactly right.
That's right.
Sometimes 140,000 times. Hey, did they roll Toomer's Corner?
All right,
back at it. Here we go. I did not know that rule either. Instead
of that 3 9s and not 3 6s that pops up there. Yeah, it does look like 9.
John would now show up with a golf scorecard the size of some of those checks that they give at halftime of the Bama game. 999.
Okay. What do we got here?
999 challenge. What is that? 9 hot dogs
in 9 innings.
Consuming 9 beers and 9 hot dogs during a 9-inning baseball game. You may have heard about that challenge. Now it's across the country. Aramark Sports in New York, in Philly, in Denver, in Kansas City, and in San Francisco, they're putting out a deal where if you eat 9 hot dogs and drink 9 beers during anybody going to be drinking 9 beers at a baseball game? Come on now.
Barry, don't they cut off beer sales at the 7th inning? I mean, how you gonna wolf down 9 beers if you don't only have 7 innings to drink it?
You can't drink 9 beers if it's 18. Well, some people can.
I know some people that can.
Probably so. Yeah. But hey, courtesy of our sponsor up here,
right.
Always drink responsibly. That's what we say. All right, there we go.
I don't like hot dogs enough to want to eat 9 hot dogs. I mean, I'm thinking I might eat 10 hot dogs a year, maybe. And I don't know if it's even 10.
And never more than like 2 at a time.
Yeah.
Swiping, no swiper. Swiper, no
swiping.
Oh, yeah. This is evident. When Gurn Jr. put this together, he does a fantastic job. This is now about to be a thing. Now, they do have a coach. LSU does have a coach. His name's Matt McMahon, and he's not done really well. They're absolutely – this has been going on for a couple of 3 days where LSU has been saying, yeah, we'd love to get Will Wade back. He left LSU because he got in a little trouble with the NCAA.
Whatever. Mr. Strong-ass offer. So what?
So they ended up hiring his buddy from McNeese, who he worked with when he was at McNeese, to LSU. And one of the things is, hey, we're going to get LSU, I don't want to hear you guys talk about Auburn and Freeze and Pearl and all this stuff. LSU doesn't care. They'll bring Lane Kiffin in.
Yeah.
And I don't care if we have to, Bogart, Ole Miss right in the middle of the college football. They'll bring Will Wade back. Not only was he busted for cheating, which is why he's not at LSU, but they already got a coach. Don't you have to fire your coach before pursuing another coach?
I know you're a history buff. Have you ever looked back at some of the governors they've elected in the state of Louisiana?
Holy smokes, Edwin Edwards. You kidding me? There are no rules. Huey Long?
Yeah, Huey Long. Give me a break. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, the Kingfish. All right, here we go.
Let's see what else we got.
It.
3 more to go. Oh, man. Yellow, blue, and red. And it's going to land on
big combo.
You want that big supersized combo?
Yeah, Joel Embiid. He'd been, he's missed a ton of games. He's from the Zion Williamson School of See How Many, and Jay Barker School of See How Many Days of Work You Can Miss. Embiid has missed a ton of time. He missed 13 games with an oblique strain.
Ooh.
Paul George, 25 games for violating the anti-drug program. They came back and they acted like they didn't miss a beat, kind of like me and John on a Monday.
That's right.
Between the two of them, they combined for 63 points in a victory over the hapless Chicago Bulls, who may be losing their coach to North Carolina as well. Yeah. Ain't no such thing as rust in the NBA. If you're a baller, you're a baller.
I'll come back and I'll pump it in for 60. Who cares? So what?
There you go. All right, there you go. A couple more here to get to.
I think we got it. Let's see what else we got left on the Victoryland 777 topic wheel. 2 more topics. We don't know what they are. It's spinning as we speak. Where will it land? I'm thinking maybe on the blue panel.
This is Land Down Under.
Women Men at Work saying something about that.
Yeah, they'll open. The NFL is going to play on Wednesdays. They open on a Wednesday. They'll play now on a Wednesday before Thanksgiving. They'll bump that game up. It was supposed to be on a Thursday night, but the Seahawks will open on a Wednesday, and they'll take on, I think it's Denver. I don't know. They haven't said who their opponent is, but they'll play on NBC on a Wednesday because the Rams and the 49ers are going to be playing on a Friday in Australia.
I mean, Barry, you hear me from time to time talk about travel cost in college. I know the NFL's got so much money they can't spend it, but what do you think it costs to send an NFL team to Australia, and the managers and the equipment and the support staff
and the broadcasters? And, you talk about a jet lag coming back from London, coming back from Sydney. You kidding me? I mean, you got to take 2 weeks off after that. Finally, one more. Here we go. This is, you can't just say whoops. You got to say whoops. Here we go.
Whoops. Uh-oh, what happened here? Who whooped it?
Blue Jays, George Springer, Ernie Clement are at the Leafs game. Yeah, these guys play for the Blue Jays.
Wrong seats, buddy.
They played in the World Series and everything, and they still don't get the good seats. They had the usher come up and say, "Hey, dude, who do you think you are? You're back in the back." Keeps you humble.
Barry, if I'm going to a game like that and they recognize me, I got to be up against the glass. I'm not sitting 6-8 rows back. Forget it.
John's been known to do this. Hey, what do you say we try these seats down here and see if somebody roots us out of here?
If they do, really? You look at dadgummit, you're right. I am in that section over there. My bad. Heck, what do you got to lose?
You got no in your pocket. That's another longshoreism that
All right, Barry, tomorrow I will be at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville. You will be somewhere in South Georgia, I believe.
I'll be in Statesboro. I'm in Waycross for only about another hour. Then we're heading to Statesboro, where I'll be on the show tomorrow on location, our regular Friday stuff to preview the weekend and to preview the Sweet 16 Midwest Regional. Alabama versus Michigan tomorrow.
Yeah, also, Barry, I don't know if I told you, the Moneyline Magician and Theotis Get Ready will be on tomorrow. Couldn't make it yesterday, so he'll probably join us at the top of hour 2 tomorrow. Ralph Michaels Wager Talk to the Gold Sheet at the bottom of hour 2, and a lot to get in for hour number 1.
Many, many thanks to United States Senator Tommy Tuberville for dropping in. Same thing with Jason Caldwell, AuburnUndercover.com, Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, presented by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. Thanks to our producer, Gurn Jr. For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.